Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regalytics, and here's your update on this week's 9,986 regulatory alerts. The regulator of the week is the FDIC, who put out a new study on the unbanked and found out that the number of people who don't have a credit union or a bank has dropped to record lows since the pandemic. This is a good thing. It also says that the number of people who said It also found that people actually said that the government payments from the pandemic were what pushed them to open the accounts. The topic of the week is electric vehicles, starting with New Jersey, who introduced two interesting bills. One is putting out an RFP to help them showcase what charging centers might look like in the state, and the other focused on, interestingly, fire safety and electric vehicles. It would appropriate funds for the fire safety authorities in New Jersey to get special training on the topic. Finally, the White House hosted an event this week with its national cyber director and a number of representatives from the industry to talk seriously about cyber hacks of electric vehicles. And since we're on cyber, and I guess electricity, I'll keep with that because the U.S. House of Representatives put out a bill this week about cyber breach notifications and electric infrastructure. The FFIEC, which is basically the enforcement division of all of the financial regulators, put out a cyber guide that pretty much every compliance officer better look at because that's what they're going to be asking about when they come in for exams. The FTC went after an edtech company called Chug for 4 different cyber breach incidents where the personal identifying information of high school and college kids were leaked. So, if you get a cyber attack, obviously that's a bummer for you. If you get attacked twice, okay, maybe unlucky, but 4 times you have not gotten your stuff in order and you can get in serious trouble. The CFPB put out an advisory opinion saying that any consumer reporting agency out there should make sure to have controls that will stop the inclusion of any obvious falsehoods, which includes logically inconsistent information. A big announcement in Syracuse, New York, attracted President Biden for a speech. Micron, the semiconductor producer, is investing $100 billion over the next 20 years to bring semiconductor manufacturing inside the United States. The FCA in the United Kingdom has announced a set of rules aimed at preventing greenwashing. This is a big deal for any UK-based fund product or portfolio management companies. It will include sustainable investment labels, disclosure requirements, and restrictions on the use of sustainability-related terms when you're naming a product and also marketing it. The HKMA announced that the Hong Kong Mortgage Corporation has successfully issued its first social bonds. The state of New York is working to make women-owned business certification easier, which for someone like me is a huge help because back in the day, I was pretty sure they were going to ask for my gynecological records. It was such an invasive process. The changes include a Senate bill proposal and some proposed changes from the New York Department of Financial Services. Okay, the last thing you need to know is that the SEC was busy this week, as usual. And it's just, sometimes I get tired of the SEC. It feels like with this administration, they are pumping out an average of 2 to 3 major new rules each week. Anyway, this week, there were 3 new rules. One is a new rule about outsourcing for investment advisors. So basically, all of those vendor management rules that impact the big guys are now going to happen to everybody else. 2, clawbacks for executives. This is basically a rule that every exchange, as a condition to register on an exchange, it will insist that every company on its exchange has to have a policy to take incentive-based executive compensation back in the event of erroneously reported financial information. So that way, the CEO can't be like, oh, look, we made $1 billion and I'll pay myself 10% or $100 million. And then turns out those were reporting errors and really you made half that. There needs to be a plan in that case where the CEO, even if he or she isn't there anymore, has to pay back $50 million. 3, mutual funds and ETFs will also have to produce annual and semi-annual reports to all of their shareholders. And that's it this week for Regalytics. And now it's time to take my kid to swimming lessons. So I will see you next Wednesday.